Hello and welcome to In Stitches. I've got the Singer 6268 electronic sewing machine on the bench again. If you haven't seen part one, I'll call this part two. If you haven't seen part one, it would probably pay to go and have a look at that. It's the video previous to this one. I'll link it in down below. But in that video, just a quick recap, I got to the point really where it wasn't worth fixing this machine because of damaged parts and irreplaceable parts. So I basically just put the brakes on the repair of the machine. Now, a viewer said to me, well, why do you need the feed dogs to use the embroidery attachment? It has an embroidery attachment here. I don't think this machine needs to have the feed dogs at all. So we could probably run this embroidery attachment by itself. The sewing machine functions, you know, your straight stitch, your zigzag, all these functions here will not work because, as you'll see, or as you can probably see there, I've removed the feed dog mechanism, the whole mechanism. The reason I was a little bit reluctant to even sort of consider that to start with was basically just the time involved in, you know, going through that process of, it's all well and good to remove the feed dog, which is nice and easy. The problem with that would have been, if we tip this over, tip this on its back here, well, actually on its end, we have a close look inside here. Say hi to Alice, supervising. She's a little bit less wound up today, which is good. Now this is the part that I identified as being an issue in part one. There's another part here that's got cracks in it and will potentially fail. I've explained why I'm not going to go down the 3D printing track with it. It's not as easy as people make it out to be, so I'm just not going to go there. It's not worth it for a machine like this. This machine, by the way, has been donated to a charity shop, and the charity shop have asked me to repair it, if I can, to give back to them to sell in the charity shop. So I'm just doing some charity work for them. I'm not going to go and spend hours and hours and hours trying to, you know, figure out a fix for this. And I could glue it up and resurrect the machine, but I'm not going to go there. I really just want to show you the embroidery part. And so what we had left over with this out, this here, drives this feed mechanism, right? It's to do with the front to back feeding. And, you know, the feed dog was attached here, just like that. Feed dog's attached there. It was in the machine. I did all this off camera because I didn't really know whether I'd be able to get this out or not easily enough. I removed the feed dog with this in situ, so I got this out so that it could slip past the hook up here. And that left this because I was thinking, well, maybe I could just test, you know, use the embroidery attachment with this here in the machine, but it was sort of, you know, floating around because it wasn't connected to any linkages. And I didn't want it, you know, rattling around inside and potentially bashing into other moving parts. So I thought, I'll remove this. So I removed that feed dog, and then I removed there's a couple of bearing shells holding this here into the machine down and behind here. I had this off here, and so I removed the two screws that held the bearing shell on here, the two bearing shells, and I actually had to remove this actuator here as well just to get access down in there. I also had to push the there's a drive pulley here, I had to loosen that and push it off the shaft just slightly so that I could extract this part here. And, you know, there's a whole lot of other bits here that were, you know, have come out of the machine as well. You know, this here, bits and pieces. Right, so there's quite a bit of stuff. there's a wee pile actually down by Alice here. There is a little pile just here of bits and pieces. Some of it I'll be reusing. There's the bobbin carrier. Obviously the plate and the bobbin we'll be reusing. And so that's the state of it at this stage, is everything's here that's required just for the machine to sew. And the embroidery attachment actually handles the movement of the fabric, you know, in the X and the Y direction. The plan has worked so far. I've got the feed mechanism out. The rest of the video is just going to be seeing whether we can get this embroidery attachment working. It's driven in the X and Y direction like this. If I push this button here, it releases the gears. But so you can see you've got, what will we call that? I'd say that's what I'd call the Y direction. So that's the front to back direction. And then we've got what I'm going to call the X direction, which is a crossways there. And that's driven, by the looks of it, by these there's a couple of little gears down here which will be driven by something in here, I would say. So the plan is to install this and see whether that part of the machine actually still works. And we might be able to have a little experiment with some of the designs here. So what I'll do is pop the bottom cover back on. Okay, we'll just sit there. I'll just put a couple of the mounting nuts there. I won't go putting every single screw back in there. That just needs to hold on there. Excuse the state of my hands. The cat, she's been a bit vicious. Not really vicious, just playing. I think it's what they call love bites. You know, they bite you lightly and it kind of messes your hands up. A couple of scratches just from getting boisterous and playing. It sort of comes with the territory with cats, doesn't it? It's like, sometimes a little bit like shoving your hand into a big ball of barbed wire. I'll just loosely do those up. I'm not going to bother putting the bottom cover here on in the meantime. I really just want to test this to see whether it's going to work. And if it does, we'll go further with a demonstration. Okay, the machine's running. That's good. Needle positioning's working, look. I'm just tapping the foot controller there and you can see that the needle's going between its up and down position. Pretty handy. Okay, that's good. Now, I've got the manual here for the monograms. And this actually tells you how to mount the unit. Number one, let's have a look here. So they're referring to this as the upper plate, that's the bottom plate. Also has starting reference marks on it. Clamp lock, that's the front, on the front here. Clamp lock there. Securing strap is that strap you can see there. There. Embroidery connection plug provides communication with the computer and the machine. It must be plugged in to the outlet. Release button releases the upper and bottom plates for hand alignment when pressed and held. Oh, that's this one. That one that I was pushing before, the release there. Spring hoop, that's that one. And a monogram display overlay. I've got some more overlays there. Monogram cartridge. That's the monogram cartridge. We've got some templates here for the monograms and the overlay there. And this unit came with a vanishing marker pen as well. I'm not going to go too far into, positioning and all this sort of thing. I'm just going to see if it stitches a pattern. So to prepare the machine, we turn it off, remove the needle, remove the presser foot, fold down the front, fold down the back or remove it, open the slide plate, then remove the needle plate by lifting it up and sliding it out. Oh, okay, yep. So basically remove the throat plate, or otherwise known as a needle plate, which I've done there. And then, so let's just remove the needle and the presser foot there. Okay, monogramming cartridge plugs in there, just like that. Okay, it says to turn the machine on. We've got two lights on here. We've got one to show that the cartridge is installed and one to say that the bobbin's missing or empty, I guess that is. So the light above the cartridge indicator symbol will remain on if the cartridge is inserted correctly. Okay, hold the bobbin thread lightly. So this is wanting us to install the bobbin. So let's just get the bobbin case back in there. Right, and then we've got a bobbin here, which we'll thread. Okay. So hold the bobbin thread lightly and completely depress the foot control. The machine will run for a few seconds, then stop by itself. These few up and down movements will position the feed and the needle bar so you can mount the embroidery unit. Okay. Okay. So I basically just held my foot on the foot controller. And it's just stopped, and now it's beeping. So that's indicating that it's ready, I think, for the embroidery attachment to be installed. So pull out about 6 inches of bobbin thread and lay it over the slide plate towards the right corner. Over here. Push that up. That. So now we just need to slide the embroidery unit on. We need to unlock the unit clamp and slide the embroidery unit on. Oh, I need the bottom on. I've just realised I need to put this bottom cover on. Okay, there's the bottom cover on there. Let's turn the machine back on. We'll make sure we're in the right position there. Okay, that's feeling secure there. Push that clamp down there, that's clamped in. So we need to slide these reference marks. I'll get you in for a closer look at that. Now the reference marks here, there's reference marks on the lower plate and the upper plate there. And if I push in the release lever, you can see that you can position the machine, or these plates, so that they line up with the reference marks there. Now it may not look lined up on the camera just because of the parallax angles there. There we go. That's looking good there. Insert the embroidery connection plug into the socket on the far left of the front arm. So if we have a look down under here, we can see the little socket there, you see. So this here plugs in like so. If the plug is not inserted, the machine will stop after a few stitches. Insert the needle and thread the machine in the normal manner. I'm a little bit concerned as to why the needle bar's not moving. Oh, does it get disconnected? I'm not going to use any stabilizer. This is just 2 layers of quilter's muslin. Let's whack a bit of that. Let's just position this in there. There we go. All right. Thread the needle, it said. Let me just... Oh, Alice, what are you doing? Alice is waking up. There's a whole lot in the manual about laying out. I'm not going to bother with any of that. I just want to see if this thing actually stitches. So we've got the overlay here to put on as well. So that basically installs into the front of the machine here, like that. Right, so there's the little overlay installed. So we've got the different layouts just here. When sewing a line monogram with only 1 or 2 letters, they will be centered automatically in the area allowed for 3 letters. For a diamond or block monogram, 3 letters must be selected. When sewing a block monogram, the 2 letters on the left will be stitched at half the size of the larger right-hand letter in order to produce an equal block. That's this one here. Kind of makes sense. Selecting a style. Program the machine embroidery unit for any one of the preset monogramming styles. Do the following. So press the style button of your choice. Line with 1, 2 or 3 letters. Diamond with 3 letters. Block with 3 letters. So let's just go for a line here with the 1 letter. Press the size button of your choice. 1 to 6 for line style. 2 to 6 for diamond, or 3 to 6 for block. Let's go for 6 there. That's our size. Select the letter. You must use the shift button, which is the up down, that one there. When the light above the shift button is on, the red rows of lettering will be selected. Oh yeah. When the light's off, the white rows will be selected. The button's red indicator light will come on when the machine is first switched on, or when the memory is cleared. Pressing the button enables you to go between. Okay, so let's just choose, I don't know, something interesting like S. When selecting initials, always enter them in the real order of the name. In the diamond style, the machine will automatically place the final initial in the center, with the first initial to the left and the middle initial to the right. Select the first initial, press enter. Int. Int. Right, okay. Sewing the monogram. Press the memory recall. Be sure the red indicator light is on above the first letter. Begin sewing by pressing down the foot controller, lightly holding the needle thread. If you hear a low-pitched tone, make sure the presser bar is down. Yeah, that's not a good sign. This needle bar is disconnected. Why has it done that? That seems loose now. Something's not right. Yeah, something is disengaging the needle bar. I'm not sure what's going on here. Something's not right. I'll come back when I've got a result, either way. Okay, I've been playing around with this for a bit now, and I hate to say it, but it looks like there's a fault with the machine. I've gone over it several times, the procedure. So first of all, we make sure we've got the cartridge in, and then we turn the machine on and we hold the foot controller down until the machine stops. We then, install this, which, I've already done. And I've double checked the connections and things like that. We select the block type, for instance, the size, and then our first letter, which will make A. Enter that. Whoops, that might have entered two of them. B. Enter. I might have had a bit of key bounce there. Let's just try that again. Okay. Block, size, A, enter, B, enter, C, enter, memory recall, and you can cycle through memory. So we've got A here, next letter will be B, next one's C, A, B, C. So each time I hit memory recall, it recalls these. And so we've got the first letter selected, we are set to go. And if I sew, I don't have any material, I don't have the needle threaded. So, okay. You'll notice the needle bar is not engaged. It does engage sometimes. There we go. And you can see it's zigzagging there. So I'm assuming it's sort of in the middle of its A section, but you'll notice that this isn't moving. This should be, incrementally moving the material, this, and then disengages the needle, and then we get an error just here. Error message. So there's an issue. What do you think, Alice? What do you reckon? Should we give up? What do you think? Hey? I think Alice agrees. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not worth carrying on with, whether there's problems with the electronics in the machine or whether it's the embroidery attachment that's got an issue. I don't know, and to be honest, I don't really want to spend any more time finding out. Sorry for the second disappointment. I really only did this video because someone suggested that I don't need the feed dogs to run the embroidery attachment. I'm kind of kicking myself for not looking at this before I started the video. But I was actually editing the video and I thought, I better double check that, there's no mechanical device that relies on the feed dogs being there. And lo and behold, look at this. And this here, that lines up directly with the feed dog. It doesn't actually move the unit that I can see, but I suspect, maybe there's two issues here. One is I've removed the feed dogs, so, it's not going to work anyway. And two is even if the feed dogs were installed, I'm not even sure that everything's happy in here. I've just, it's at the point where I'm just going to give up because I can't repair that plastic part. I can't install the feed dogs. Well, I can install them, but they won't work very well. And I suspect that's why this machine's flogged out, is because it's been used quite a bit, I think, for embroidery. You can see where the machine has been slid on and off the machine, with this attachment here has been slid on and off the machine, and you can see, the needle scrapes here. So I suspect that it's probably been used quite a bit and it's slogged out the feed mechanism. So, yep, that puts paid to that, really. Not going to go too much further with it. So, yep, I'm going to leave it at that. Sorry for the second fail in a row. It's just, you win some, you lose some. This machine's obviously not destined to play ball. Thank you, as always, to my patrons for your support. thank you very much for watching, and Alice sends a thank you as well. Thanks very much for watching. See you in the next video. Hopefully it's more successful.